Hey guys, and welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm Shanee Howard. This is Tommy Shelby.
Hello.
This is Ryan Robinson.
Greetings and salutations.
And how are you guys?
Doing good. Doing real good.
Not too bad.
What have you been playing lately?
So much.
Throw some names at me.
So I hooked up your Wii U,
All right.
which led me to purchase way too many virtual console games. So like the Wii U's library is excellent if you want to play old games.
What have you been playing?
So I played through Sin and Punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Played through Star Fox 64.
Mm-hmm.
Played through Wave Race 64.
Mm-hmm.
Got about halfway through Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Zero Mission. Played through WarioWare Inc.
Ooh.
And I think that's it. Oh, and I've been playing NES Remix on there. So that's it for Wii U. And then, so for my daughter's birthday, which was last week, I bought her a Switch Lite.
Rad.
And I liked it so much that I went out and got myself one.
So wait, this is a 3-Switch household now?
Yeah, it's soon to be a 4-Switch household.
Cool. That's the coolest house in the neighborhood,
A
man.
Switch Lite, if you guys want to screw around with that.
Is that gray?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. I thought it was at first just a regular Switch with a cover over it when I first sneaked a peek at it, but this feels good.
It feels good. So she wanted
I mean,
the
it feels a
blue
little.
one.
It feels obviously tinier, like because I'm used to playing the regular Switch right now.
Was that $199?
Yeah. Well, okay. So she wanted the blue one. And after I got my hands on the thing, I was like, this feels really good.
It's really light. True to its name.
Well, you like the Joy-Con. There's no Joy-Cons, right? It's one solid piece.
No,
So you don't have to worry about that Joy-Con like
there's
disconnecting.
no wiggle there. You know, you don't feel the wiggle of the Joy-Cons. There's a D-pad. The buttons are about the same size, but they're squishier.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the squishy buttons. And the sticks are exactly the same size. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they're the exact same sticks. But because the screen is slightly smaller,
Mm-hmm.
pixel density is like it's the same pixel density. So like, no, same resolution, greater pixel density because of a smaller screen.
Yeah.
So it looks better. So yeah, it's cool.
Very cool,
I like
man.
So because of that, I figured I'd get a couple new games on there because I haven't really played Switch in a long time. So I picked up Cadence of Hyrule. That's a lot of fun. And Katana Zero is a lot of fun, especially if you like Hotline Miami, play Katana Zero.
Who made that Katana Zero?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into that, but like Katana Zero is a better Hotline Miami game than Hotline Miami 2. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I've been playing just a ridiculous amount of things. Still chipping away at Devil May Cry 5. Like
ASCII soft.
Yeah, I've just been playing a lot of games.
What about you, Ryan?
Last week I played this game called Get My Wisdom Tooth Cut Out of My Head.
Ah.
And that
Did you get the high score for that?
Yeah. That was a fun game for me.
Did you platinum it?
Yeah, I guess so. But I've been playing a lot of Death Stranding, which is I'll save that. I have a lot of thoughts that I'll save for another time.
Well, we're getting our new TV soon, so yeah, let me play a little bit of that, and then let's talk about it together.
Okay. Yeah, I've been having. So, I'll say as much as this. I don't know how much I was expecting to like that game, and initially, I don't know that I was liking that game. But now, I think I've got 30 hours in, and I really like that game, quite a bit. Also, as of last night, I returned to 2 different games. I'm returning to Mortal Kombat, and I'm practicing with a character that I haven't ever really played as.
The Joker, baby.
Yeah, that's him. But but no, I'm playing some Mortal Kombat still grinding on Tekken like pretty regularly. Very excited for next month because it's going to be all Street Fighter all the time in my house next month. And I also installed Dying Light last night, which is a game I haven't played since it came out 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That game is still real cool. I like it a lot.
So no confirmation yet, but some Canadian retailer leaked Street Fighter V Champion Edition for Switch.
Uh-oh.
Still don't know if that's true or not, but I don't know why they would make it up. You know?
Uh-oh.
So
I wonder if that means I got to buy 2 versions.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy 2 versions.
I mean, I'd rather play that on PC or like a regular console.
Sure, but when I go to work, I can play Street Fighter V at work.
Well, you can do that on your sure.
So that sounds like an attractive proposition.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been mostly it for the most part. I'm working on a few little things that I will unveil at a later time. But other than that, kind of just even keeled right now.
So
even keeled.
Mm-hmm. Say Jeff Keeled.
Yeah.
The Jeff Stranding.
Yeah.
I would not play
That's
that
true.
game. So Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC came out.
Yeah, remind me what that's all about. See what I did there, Shanee?
Yeah, I did. The name of the DLC is Remind. So yeah, I obviously I was excited about it. I talked about it multiple times. So I knew. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard you mention that.
Not once.
Yeah.
So I have something that I think y'all would find funny about it.
Okay.
So I, was excited. I didn't really want to see what was terribly like in it because I was just like I wanted some of it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
So
have you played the other Kingdom Hearts games?
Yeah, once or twice. And it added there was along with the DLC that was $30. There was a lot of free stuff also given as far as updates came out, and so some of the stuff you got for free, which I think is good. I'm glad that some of it just here, you don't have to pay for it. This is you can still get this. And
Square Enix and Disney can afford that. Yeah,
that's a lot of money,
Yeah, well, you got old Keyblades and updates to the story and stuff. So half of the DLC I really enjoyed and I played through, and then the other half is fighting the Organization 13 members in this simulated thing as Sora, and all of the members their attacks are updated and they're enhanced, so they're faster, stronger, and stuff like that.
Okay,
doing some VR missions in there.
I have not been able to beat a single fucking one. And then I
remember you said you wished it was harder.
Yeah, you did say that.
Well,
you asked for this.
Oh yeah, a lot of people did, and a lot of people are really happy because a lot of the fights, the songs are their old songs, or there's a lot of just nods to if you enjoyed the series, things back to them. I think what?
Nothing. Just your wording on that was funny.
Okay, I don't know how I worded it, but okay. So there's a lot of things that I think that they did to really make people happy, and I've heard a lot of really positive feedback as far as when I looked online.
Yeah.
But I was getting really frustrated because I was going from fight to fight, trying it a couple times, trying a couple different ways, and yet each fucking one of these, and not being able to beat a single fucking one.
So what are you fighting here?
Organization 13 members.
Those are the black guys, right?
The guys in the black cloaks.
See, those are 2 different things.
Yeah.
The guys in the black cloaks. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna keep playing some more Fire Emblem, and then I'm gonna watch some videos and see how other people have beat them and what people feel get step back, do something I'm actually good at, feel better about myself, and go back to it.
Shanee,
and I've come across a couple videos. Go ahead.
What's an Organization 13?
They're, for all intents and purposes, the bad guys of the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise.
Okay.
But not completely bad.
They're not mad gear.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't.
Right. So if some of them aren't,
so they're
not completely
they're the
bad.
antagonist.
I see.
They're the antagonist of the entire series.
Okay.
So I was watching some videos, and a lot of people put up videos the same day it dropped, And of course, and a lot of these are like, well, this is the first time I'm playing through these, so there's probably better ways to fight. But like, I just want to show you guys what the fights look like.
Right.
And they're just like beating every single boss like effortlessly, and I'm just like,
Oh.
go fuck yourself.
That sounds like something Absquatula would do.
Oh god, I probably is like him and other different channels just bragging about how great he is in it. Probably not. You're great, Abs.
He's a humble guy.
I don't know. Does Abs play Kingdom Hearts?
Nah.
Yeah,
Playing grown up games.
he played just the DLC and is great at it.
Sure.
So that's been a little frustrating because I have been excited about it and I'm just not good at it.
Really? You just gotta practice, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch some more and then keep trying to be at it. But just going back to
You got through that God of War. Remember, you were having problems with that.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah,
I did do it.
Mhm.
I did not struggle as much as I am with this DLC, but yes,
Kingdom Hearts is harder than God of War. You're saying it right here, right now.
the DLC is
Okay.
but also God of War is not the most challenging game in the entire world.
I heard a lot of people complain about fighting Valkyries or something like that.
Yeah,
Valkyries were hard,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
that's
not
for
easy.
sure.
I fought the same one for about 2 hours.
So Kingdom Hearts is harder than that, huh?
Probably like
Just answer the question, Shanee.
no. I mean, I'm not gonna answer this like answer no question, because like some of Valkyries were not that hard, but in general, the Valkyries did move a lot slower
I like to press you on the hard issues.
than all of the Kingdom Hearts fights,
Yeah.
and like that's one of the things that like trips me up and why I have like trouble with some games is just like it moves like I've been playing a lot of Smash lately.
Nice.
I've been having a coworker come over
Who's
after
your
work.
main?
I've been playing with
Briar
Corin.
Plant.
Character.
Corin.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Corin.
Mm-hmm.
Which
So-
one is that?
Fire Emblem.
I like
but
that.
like weird Fire Emblem.
Like it has like the
Yeah.
spiky thing that can help,
Mhm.
and I'm a jumpy character, and I like jump around a lot. But
One of the better Fire Emblem characters in that game.
so I know a lot of people are mad about the new Fire Emblem character being in the next, like going to be in the next Smash character because you're like,
Then make your own game, you know?
Making video games is hard.
Yeah, do it
but
yourself.
people who
So,
are into Fire Emblem are really excited. But
I imagine they would be.
I don't know. A lot of the Valkyries just like I said, move slower, and I think it's like a little bit easier to time because like for me personally, just because like when things move fast, I just have a hard time keeping up. Like that's part of
Yeah.
the but the reason I brought Smash is like quite often in Smash, my biggest problem is I lose track of my character.
Sure.
So then I start looking at the names, and then I get like we play with all the items. So then I have like helpers, and I think that I'm like fighting somebody, but it's just like one of my helpers.
That's not tournament legal, Shanee.
And
Assist trophy? Is that what you mean by helper? Like one of the other characters?
yeah, like you get the little thing,
Yeah.
like the guy in like the snow globe, and you throw it up, and then
yeah.
get a character, or you get like a Pokemon
yeah.
out of a Pokeball. So like those little assist people, and like I'll think that's me, but I'm like, oh shit, that's not me. So when things move really fast, I just sometimes I have a really hard time like keeping up. So I think for me personally, probably is I'd say like the DLC for Kingdom Hearts, the limit cut episodes is what they're called, is harder than the Valkyrie fights in God of War.
Okay.
It's probably also because I haven't played Kingdom Hearts in a hot second. I think I might go back and like play some and then go back to the limit cut episodes and see if like me remembering the controls and how I like to fight like would also help.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I went back to Fire Emblem because I do love that game and I'm great at it.
Okay.
Well, you're great at it. Are you playing on a harder difficulty now?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
How do you quantify skill with that?
Efficiency.
With Fire Emblem,
Yeah. Power.
Turns, less turns.
less turns is probably the easiest way.
Okay.
But also it just kind of depends on how you like to fight.
Are you aware of the par for each map?
No, there's no par.
Oh, that's such a good idea, though.
But there is like some maps where you have
I'm
to
gonna throw that in the next game, in the next Fire Emblem game. Put a par on that sumbit.
Yeah.
Well, there's some matches or fights that you do have to beat it within like underneath 25 turns or 10 turns or whatever. So some of them do have limits on them as far as like,
Right.
but there's no like, oh, this is the best you could be at this, like par for the course. But It also just depends on like how you like to play, like what is your kind of goal in these fights. Because you can say that you're really good and like do like 12 turns, but you only have one character on the field.
Okay.
So meanwhile, like because like some of them have like so all of them have a cap of how many characters can be on the map, but you can always go underneath that level. So if you want to like 2-man a fight, you can.
Is the cap variable or is it the same across the board?
It varies depending on which fight. Some fights you'll have 11, some you'll have 8, some you'll have like if it's like they call them paralog battles, and they're like if you have a certain like support level with the character, then like these will pop up, and like some of them it's just like you and like 2 other people fighting against like a pass.
I have a follow-up question. Is the enemy subject to the same stipulations, or do they can just have however many while you're limited?
Each map is not procedural generated. Like it is like these are the characters for this map.
Right, but what I'm saying is like, can they have this? Are they limited to the same number that you are?
No, like quite often they are more than you.
Wow.
So like sometime like I just played a map where there was only 10 of us, but there was 35 of them.
Okay.
And sometimes like you have 2 different factions like fighting against you, but they're also fighting against each other.
Okay.
So, but you get more points the more that you kill.
Like the more
Oops.
the more enemy units you kill, you get more points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you defeat both teams before the other team could defeat characters from both teams, get better rewards. So that does bring me into what I wanted to talk about today, which is Fire Emblem.
Good segue.
Yeah. Segue into Fire Emblem by talking about Fire Emblem.
Yep. I'm a master of them. And we've talked before how we want to talk like more deep into just one game as far as a topic.
Sure.
And considering how much I love Kingdom Hearts, and and the moment I hit a bump in the road, I'm just like, take me back, Fire Emblem. I miss you. Like really just kind of points how much I do really enjoy this game, and I just wanted to talk about it. And like maybe I might say a couple things that are spoilery, but will try to be as high level as possible.
Okay.
Was still explaining it. And I also wanted to give actual tips and tricks since I complained about it not too long ago.
Shanee, according to FCC regulations, we are legally obligated to say spoiler warning at this point. So
are we?
Say it.
Spoiler warning.
Okay. So how many run-throughs of this game have you done so far?
I'm on my 3rd.
Okay. And you're doing a different house each time, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one of the houses has 2 different routes you can take.
Is it the deer one?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Not Fear the Deer. It's the Black Eagles. It's Edelgard's one.
Okay.
I mean, technically you can have different endings with like any of them, but like generally they're the same. I guess it just depends on who died.
Wait, hold on. So the ending is generally the same regardless of which house you pick?
No, if like say I play like 3 times with like Golden Deer.
I see. So each house has an ending.
Yeah, like each house has an ending, except for like Edelgard's is like has a very split, like if you make this decision, it will affect the storyline.
Okay.
Like an actual like warning for it.
I see.
The rest of them, it only alters by like who's dead or not.
I see. Okay.
But first I just kind of wanted to start off with like what the general story begins with.
Okay.
So you are in a land. Why? Of course, as soon as I start talking about it, my mind blanks. It's called either Ferdinand or Fergus. Why am I blanking?
Want me to Google it for you?
Yes, please.
Ferguson. Fergwad.
Yeah, it's Farquaad. So you start in the land of Farquaad, and there's like similar to the name 3 houses. There's kind of like 4 major factions. There's like the Empire. There's like the Kingdom. I think it's Fergus.
Fodlin.
Then what's the kingdom? Is it the Kingdom of Fergus then?
I don't know. It just says Fodlin.
The Knights, because there's like a Knights one. That's where the Blue Lions come through.
Okay.
And then there's the Lancaster Alliance, which is where the Deer comes from. The Black Eagles comes from the Empire, and the Knights of I guess Fergus or Fortland is like the Blue Eagles.
Fortnite.
Yeah. And so, but the game starts off with like you are just with your dad. His name's Gerald.
Like a good dad.
You kind of wake up like generally. All right, so but it starts off actually with you just like kind of in a dream. You're talking to this like green-haired girl. Wake up, hang out with your dad for a second, and then these people come up, and they're just like, "Hey, we're from the academy. There's like things outside. They're gonna try and wreck shit. Say like, help us."
Okay.
So you start your first fight, kind of get your mechanics of it, and then you get invited to come to the officers' academy where you find out that your dad used to work.
Right.
With the church and the main area is called Garreg Mach, and it is run by the Church of Saros, which has spread all over the continent of Borderland and is like a main driving force in the entire story. And you get there, and then you get to meet all the students, and then you gotta choose. And then the Lady Rhea, who is the Archbishop of the church, she also has green hair. You find out there's like 2 other people that are in the church that you can eventually get to recruit. And depending on which house you have, and like, so you talk to her, find out that your dad used to like be one of the knights that like protected her, was like a really high officer. You never knew any of this. You find out that you don't know when your birthday is. Not really. You don't really know much about yourself or your past. You're pretty like robotic.
I've got anime amnesia. Got it.
Yeah, but like you also just have known this about yourself, like that your dad has never told you your birthday.
Oh, I see.
And like you're just like, it's fine.
You know, if you never tell them when their birthday is, they never expect presents.
Yeah, that's basically where you're at with this.
So.
And so then you get to meet everybody, and then you get to pick which house, because the Archbishop has decided that you're going to be a teacher to one of these houses.
Wait, so the Archbishop decides you're a teacher.
Yep, and then you get to pick which house you want to teach after you meet them all and decide which kids are the least worst kids.
And that's that Lady Rhea person.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
Who you romance at some point.
No. No, not her.
Okay.
No,
Just the students.
there's not just the students. You can also romance some of the other teachers, because it's a Fire Emblem game, and in case you didn't notice, you can romance a lot of people in it.
I'm not really familiar with the franchise to that level.
So normally in past Fire Emblem games, as you go through, you collect people, and then like you go across towns and stuff, and like a lot of times you will have a decision where you can only take this character or this character.
I see.
And like you have to do something and choose which one then. This game, you get your team set up already depending on which house you want. So with the Black Eagles, a lot of them are magic users. With Golden Deer, a lot of them are ranged fighters. And then with Blue Lions, they're all like close combat for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, you can get a couple of characters that don't fall in that, but most of them are there. Like, that's your general thing.
So it sounds to me like your choice of house is going to depend on what kind of unit you like.
Yeah. I mean, but also just depends on like who you want to play, because with that being said, you are teaching in this monastery. You're in here day in, day out, and they do we've talked about before, like a persona-like calendar where like you can do certain things on the weekends, and then throughout the week, like you'll get different stuff. And at the end of every month, there's like a major battle, and it follows that trend. But you can go through and with other Fire Emblem games, and this game included, you can do support levels, which is like how much that person likes you. And with this one, every time you hit a support level, if it's like between 2 non-playable characters, then you have to go into your journal, click them, and watch their support like conversation. If you ever do that, which I did like halfway through my first run, then they won't build support. So you have to go in and pick those.
So you have to help them foster relationships.
Yeah. So tips and tricks there. Make sure you always check your journal to do those conversations, because otherwise they will not build up, and you'll be halfway through the game and realize, hey, why is everybody not even at level C when they can go up to level A? Like, it's been multiple fights, multiple tea parties, multiple dining experiences, and no one's leveled up.
Right.
Except for me with a few characters. So if it is also very similar in sometimes to like you and the students, but most of the time, if you get to a level, if you then walk around the monastery, and it marks it on a little map you have, like it'll be like a conversation bubble in an area, and you go to that area, then it'll prompt a conversation between you and that character, and that's how you build it up. So if you've done everything, so if you have a chance to explore the monastery and you see those those bubbles, you may have used up, like you may have done everything else, but if you leave, then you just miss all those opportunities to build your support levels.
Okay.
I mean, later you can go back and do them, but it's just going to take more time later, and like you could have already built another level.
Yeah.
So always look at your supports. If you see a little exclamation point by it, go and check it out and see what you need to do about it. A lot of them will tell you, like if you if you in this journal where you have like the list of your students and stuff and like your support levels, like it'll have there, and it'll say like, hey, you need to have a conversation to deepen this bond. But and that's a really good way. Like that is actually like a really important way to also get to recruit people, because most of the time when you go and like say you pick the Blue Lions like I am right now, and I really want another magic user, I have to either have specific stats they want, which I have to have like, which as your character, any of the characters, you have like your 9 to I think it's like 12 like different stats, and it says like you need to get certain stats to a level, and otherwise they're not going to join your house. But you can completely bypass that by getting them to like you. So you can invite them to lunches, you can give them gifts, you can have tea parties, and as long as it's to level B, I think, then you can just invite them and they'll join your house.
I have a question. Can you ever say something to someone that negatively impacts your relationship with them?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't happen super often, but what mostly happens is like you'll have options of what to say, and one of them just will not give you a support at all, and only one of the answers will give you that. There are gifts that you can give to people that they hate, and that will negatively affect your support levels.
Like like if someone was to gift you a fedora.
Yeah, I get negative points.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
but that's also a gift that, you know,
Keeps on giving.
Well, I just think that.
Well, it depends on the person. Like
it's
one
a gift that I think is very, very thoughtful, and even if I don't, not me per se, but even if a person doesn't,
Fire Emblem, right? Not you.
Even if the Fire Emblem character doesn't typically wear fedoras, maybe they can integrate them into their style because it's a nice gift and it's very much appreciated.
Sure.
The ones that are negative are not negative for each character though, because like some characters are really like our healer. Let's do like one of our healer characters, for example. One of them's like really likes gardening. She's super nice, sweet. If you try to give her anything like weapons related, she's not gonna like it, and she's
What's she there for? She's in a Fire Emblem game.
To heal.
Yeah. Give her band-aids.
Sure. Give her band-aids.
Or
adhesive
to warp
medicated
people
strips.
across the map.
Cool.
They can also do that. Like, so if you have a character that packs a punch, but they're very slow moving, you can, there's certain characters that have a warp ability where you can just, like, yeah, you're across the map, just take everybody out while the rest of us walk over there.
Yeah.
I see. This is turn-based, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Grid-based, turn-based.
I see. Okay.
I kind of skipped over a little bit of other things, but yeah, so like other games, support levels are important. There is different ways to get it because in the monastery, there's a couple of different things that you can do on your days off. One of them is, like I said, exploration, where you explore in the monastery. You can have conversations with people, and sometimes they will give you options, and if you pick the correct option, then your support will boost with them. There is a gardening aspect, which I would highly suggest to do. Depending on how you want to play or what you need to do in your gameplay, depends on what you want to plant. And there are guides out there that, like, if you plant different plants together, certain things will grow better.
That's new, right? Like, I don't remember that in any
No,
Fire
it's
Emblem.
new. At least to me, I am saying that I'm explaining this with somebody who has not a whole lot of experience with a lot of other Fire Emblem games. So some of these things I may say are new, but they're just new to me.
Sure.
But I'm assuming this is new because most often it doesn't like stay in one place. If I remember correctly, a lot of mine where I was like moving across the country.
You are correct, sir.
So with this, there's a greenhouse, and some of the seeds that you get to plant will grow vegetables and fruits and stuff. And sometimes like you'll get flower seeds where it will grow flowers that you can give as gifts. But both of them also have like different stat bonuses that you may get from it. Like some like will give a thing that pops out and it's like, oh, if you give this to somebody, then their dex forever will be up to. Things like that, so you can help stat boost. I think that gardening is a little bit underrated because I haven't seen a lot of people really talking about like different ways to really push that as a mechanic to help you. And then there's also a fishing thing that you can do as well. And you have to go and you have to get bait. You can't fish without bait.
Sure.
And with that, another tips and tricks is you don't have to reel in the first fish that tries to bite into your line. You will feel a different vibration, but also the picture of the fish will be a little bit smaller because like you just like it's like a little animation. You put your line into the water, and then a fish it'll start vibrate, and it says press A to like reel in the fish, and then you have to do a little rhythm timed event where like the circle goes into smaller.
Right.
And depending on that, like you may catch like 2 fish or something like that, or catch it at all, depending on how bad you are. Actually, I'm pretty good at that one, which I'm surprised at. And so also always use your fishing. There are days and you'll see on your calendar where fishing is more profitable. And I say to save your bait because it is limited until a certain point of the game for those days. And then with it, there's also a dining room mechanic. There's 2 things you can do in it. One is you can cook with somebody, and depending on what you cook, your entire team that month will get a stat boost. So if you cook everyone may get +3 luck for the rest of the month, but the next month it resets.
Can we go back real quick to the gardening?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of buffs are you getting from this?
So one of them, like, I think it's a goddess of life is like +4 charm.
Okay.
There's +2 speed, +1 plus whatever dex, speed, charm, defense, resilience.
Okay. Yeah, because it just reminds me. It reminds me of like the crafting in Breath of the Wild that like hardly anybody talked about, but like that shit's super useful. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and the thing is like it's not just like one character only can use like these like they're like seals
right
that you can give to eat like any character you want. So if I want like at the beginning one of my like mages is super squishy, give him a fuck ton of defense and resilience.
Yeah, and it's consumable though, right?
Yeah, it's consumable.
Right.
So it's a one-time thing, but a lot of people I haven't really besides like the people who made the guides, it's like because you can also after you've planted your plants you can cultivate them, and there's different things you can do like water, prune, unicorn tears.
Tears?
Yes.
Did I miss where you talked about the benefits of fishing? Did I miss that?
Oh, like you get different fish. Some fish. So there is. Sorry, real quick. I didn't touch on this, but with fish. But did that answer your question for?
Yeah.
So with fishing, you can get like regular fish. You can get some fish that give you the bonuses when you cook in the dining hall. Like the one person in you like cook and get the bonus for everybody. Okay. And there's some fish that are just like worth a lot of money. So, so you can go and catch the fish. The small blue are going to be small fish. The big blue are going to be bigger fish. There's red, which is rare fish, and then gold ones, which are obviously like the ones that are going to be worth money. And then I haven't seen it yet, but I have seen video where there's like a rainbow fish that does something amazing. I don't know. I haven't gotten it yet. But I'm assuming that one probably does like major stat boost. So then, yeah, so you can garden and fish, and then you can go to the dining hall. You can cook. There's like one where you can cook with somebody one-on-one, but there's also like the head chef that you can go and have meals with people. You don't have to have meals with just people on your team, but if you do have meals with people on your team, it will boost their motivation, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it also boosts your support, and it boosts your support between the 2 characters that you can pick, because you can only pick up to 2.
Is support the analog? I just want to make sure I understand. That is the analog for like the level of relationship that someone has.
Yep.
With someone. Okay. So
with support levels, you can like create them to have a paired ending, because there's a bunch of paired endings between the characters that are not you and like that are not the main character's like default name is Blyleth, or Byleth, and then
are you Byleth?
Yes. I mean I changed the name. Well, the first time I
So
tried
that's the one they added to Smash.
So they
Yes.
added.
So like, yeah, because it's funny because they had already put Robin in Smash, which was like the player character for Awakening.
Okay,
So, it's
so
just, I guess they're continuing on with that.
okay, now I understand. Kind of.
and so with your support levels boosted, you also can do you also get like support when you do like certain attacks. You also get support with your battalions, which I'll talk about in a little bit too. And then of course, like you get the interactions and can have like a ending with that person if you choose them. But you have to have them to a certain support level to be able to choose them.
Okay.
But yeah, so when you eat is really how you, besides like battling with them, but is really how you can bolster support levels. So between gifts, I mentioned it earlier, but tea at a certain point, you will be able to invite characters to have tea with you. And each of them have a favorite tea, and there's conversation topics. When you first go and explore the monastery before you pick the house, you can see like rosters, but at any point you can also like see which roster of your characters. But in the beginning, you see a roster of characters, and it has like a general like likes and dislikes thing. And so like the tea, I think there's like 50 something topics that you can like choose from, but it randomly picks 3 of them. But one of those 3, at least one of those 3, sometimes it's 2 of the 3, your character will like to hear. So you'll talk about monastery secrets, view from the bridge, admirable comrades, like things like that, whatever you think the character's going to like. And if you do really well, then it boosts your support points. But no matter what, for the rest of that month, it will boost the charisma between you and that character, and then also build the support levels. So between gifts, eating at the dining hall, inviting them to tea, you can really boost your support levels in multiple ways with characters. They do take a fraction of your points when you explore the monastery, because when you first explore it, you have a certain amount of action points. The reason the garden and fishing is so great is because they don't take action points. Eating in the dining hall, having tea will take action points, giving gifts will not, which is why a lot of people are like, hey, just cheat the system, get a bunch of gifts. And like some people just use a greenhouse specifically just for flowers, so they can just like send flower after this person to this person. And and then like get them to level B so they can do that.
So like when you're talking about the support system, like I'm assuming you're talking about like in most Fire Emblem games, if you build your relationship with somebody and you are next to them in battle, you do better. Like your stats are buffed.
Yeah, this one you don't have to be right next to them. You just have to, both of the characters have to be within attack distance to the same enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So say you and a character have like a really good support team. One of them is super long range, and you choose Byleth to be more of a like up close fighter. Then as long as that person can hit in range, you can be like 4 or 5 squares and still get the gambit bonus.
Yeah.
Or not the gambit, but the support bonus.
I have a piggyback question that goes off of Tom's question. When you have 2 people that are within attacking distance for the same dude, like, is there any sort of tag team attack? There's like unique animations for that.
There are unique animations in the support team thing, like, and it's something like huge. It's just like, it just says like gambit bonus or support bonus, and it just has like kind of like Power Rangers-esque, where it has like lightning in between, and it has like animation of each character's like face just like going like ha.
I do like Power Rangers.
Like, you know, like how like it showed all of them on the screen. It was just like the little lights, but like that's what you get. You get morphin time. But one thing I forgot to mention is with planting and harvesting in the greenhouse, you can only, like, if you plant something, you can't harvest it that same exploration time. Like, you have to wait till the next time to pick it up. So planting what you do want to plant does matter, especially in the beginning, because you only have like 1 or 2 slots to plant seeds. But as you gain professor levels, which I'm about to talk about, you'll get more slots. Same thing with get more slots.
That's not what I was laughing at, the concept, the professor level.
Yeah, me too.
So, like I said, when you explore, you have a certain many like action points. Dining in the dining hall, tea, or there's also where you can train with professors, and I'll talk about that in a second. After that, you get like action points, and depending on what your professor level is, it depends on how many action points you can use. You build your professor level by reading books that you find. Some of them are in the library. Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Fishing, even though it costs you no action points, will give you professor points like for every fish you catch.
PPs.
So even if it's not like a super great time to fish, like it's nothing like special going on, if you are like super close to a professor level, it may be beneficial to go in and fish, like just to like get you over that like level point, because next time you come back to the monastery, you'll have more action points to do stuff. Say like having meals will build up professor points. Doing certain trainings will build up professor points, and later if you in New Game Plus, there's another way to get professor points. But your professor level is, unlike everything else, every other skill is rated from E to S plus. So it's E, E plus, D, D plus, C, so forth, so on.
Sure.
Except for professor level, it only goes up to A plus.
You can't get higher than that, you know?
Yeah.
You can get S plus and everything else.
Have you ever seen an S on your report card, Shanee?
You know how professors work?
Yeah.
All right.
I am a professor in this game, so I do know how they work poorly. I flirt with all the students.
Yeah. You're gonna get yourself fired for that, man. You might want to wait till you get some tenure under your belt.
Sure.
Well, the bishop really likes me.
Sure.
To the surprise of everybody. A lot of teachers a couple of the people in the game are like, "Why'd you make her professor? Why are you being so nice to her? Why are you giving her power? We don't fucking know her."
Yeah. I don't know you.
Yeah. So, what else did I say I was going to be with professor level in a second? I said I was going to get to.
I don't know.
I will say this, Shanee. This game sounds, and I don't know if this is true for all Fire Emblem games, but this game sounds mechanically dense.
It is, but
sounds like we're dealing with systems on top of systems on top of systems here, which ordinarily I like.
So having not played this, I know at least difficulty-wise this is easier than most other Fire Emblem games.
Okay.
Fire Emblem games, but like
it can be.
She is talking about certain mechanics that don't exist in previous Fire Emblem games.
So are these because I'm wondering, and I guess Tom, of the three of us, you'd probably be more qualified to speak on it, but you haven't played it.
No.
But I would be curious to know if the mechanics in this game are mechanics that, like all the mechanics that carried over from previous Fire Emblem games, plus all this other new shit that she's talking about.
No, because there's some things that it takes out or doesn't put as much emphasis on.
Okay.
So that makes it different.
That said, like, you've played games like XCOM and Tactics and, you know, Into the Breach and stuff like that. Like, I think you would be fine playing this game.
So that's what one of the things so, and I'll touch on the mechanics and like how dense they are in a second. So then there's also,
like Fire Emblem is no Disgaea, you know? Like, that's, you could wrap your mind around this for sure.
Disgaea is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll hit two more things and then I'll kind of like talk about it. So there's also these things called battalions that are also a new mechanic to the game. And they can really...
Battalions?
Battalion.
Oh.
Battalions. They... there's no Italy in this game.
Sure,
Sorry.
Sure.
So...
Arrivederci.
They... Buongiorno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are like... So in this game, you can see like closer and closer views in the battlefield, and like if you have a battalion, you can actually see them if you go like super close. But they kind of add something extra to your character. They add another attack or heal or some sort of special quality to your character. There is like other things like combat attacks, abilities that for a character that you can think about. But as far as battalions, they are just like exactly what they sound like. They're a troop of people that you can add to your character.
But it's added to a character.
Yes.
So you're still moving just one unit.
Correct.
Okay. So that's the biggest thing. When I first saw footage of this game, I was like, there's so many more people in this than any other Fire Emblem game. Like so on the playfield, you know?
We're talking about a group of people who are
move as a unit. Okay. Yeah. Similar to like in Advance Wars, I would assume.
It's like you are the leader and they are your battalion.
Right.
Hence the name.
Yeah. Fire Emblem before, there's nothing like that.
So with that, there's so many things you can do. You can give a super tank heavy character a battalion that does heals, and they can do
That's cool.
And they can do like a 2x6 square like of heals. Like so, if you have like everybody kind of behind them, you can set it to where they heal everybody behind them and then like next round have them go forward because it does take one of your turns. I think they call them untapped or tapped characters. But yeah, so it taps one of your characters to where you can't use them anymore. But like say if
that's like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, you got sideways.
Yep. So with it, you can kind of have characters like say if you have two characters that are similar, like both like cavalier characters where they're like lances on horses, but like you give one of them a ranged battalion where they can go like 3 or 4 squares ahead of you, take out like a group of like 4 people, and then you can have your other character move in. Mm-hmm. So it really gives you, so not only do you have such a variation in like the kind of characters that you can play and how many, because I have proven in my last game that you can recruit every single character that is available to recruit in a game.
Right.
You're just not going to use them. And also it just kind of makes things really annoying when you go to try and teach people shit, because you do also teach in this game. You are a teacher.
Mr. Feeney.
And so
yeah, I guess you're a little bit too involved with the students in the way that he was, huh?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Mr. Feeney didn't date any of the students.
Well, why is it okay for Fire Emblem to date the students but not Feeney?
See, I feel
because
like
in Fire Emblem,
Feeney's got to get his dick wet too.
Because in Fire Emblem, they're possibly the same age.
I mean, Mr.
Because you don't know when your birthday is.
I mean, I don't know how old Mr. Feeney is.
He might have crossed the line by meddling in their personal affairs too much, but he never tried to date him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's not a diddler.
But this Byleth person, I don't know,
she's
man.
diddling all over the place.
Well, this is also an officer's.
You telling me this is police academy?
Yes.
Steve Gutenberg there.
So I think that. So as soon as you get battalions, I say try to apply them as soon as possible.
Sure.
If you have characters that you really want to use both of them, but they're both pretty similar in the what they do on the battlefield, I say look into maybe on one of them, because your battalions also have levels, and that's based off your authority level, which you can level up in trainings or in like teaching classes, and or in the battlefield. So with that, you can build up your authority level and get different battalions. So if you have two different characters that are very similar, but you like both of them, like you like the story and you want to like use both of them, I say highly look into battalions to see how you can make them different and what they can bring to the battlefield. Like, so if you want both of them, but it's kind of leaving out like a character for another slot, you can make one of them have like a magical attack.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. As far as what else was I going to touch on?
What do you go to the professor of?
Like, you're not one thing necessarily, because yes, all of this sounds very, very dense.
Yeah.
But it's so easy actually to get through and play all of it and not feel like it's dense, because when you start, let's like in a week.
Yeah.
Let's do a general week in a month. Some months are shorter than others depending on when a battle falls or like an endpoint falls. But let's say a regular week on and then say like through the week you'll have, or like sometimes it's like a holy event where it's like, do you want to participate in it? And it'll boost up your faith skills, which is your healing skills, and then I'll pick two random students to like go pray with you, and then they'll also get like healing points boost up. It doesn't take any action points, and just like there's no reason not to do it,
right?
Unless like you want to play a character that hates the church, and then this is literally just, and like, which is fine, you can totally do that. And other times you'll run across people's birthdays, and in the beginning all you can do is give them flowers, but later, like if it's a certain character's birthday, you can have a tea party with them, and then boost up support that way. And then on Friday, normally in your last class, you'll have a group task set out for like 2 characters, and it's either to build up their flying, heavy armor, or writing abilities, which is like the hardest ones to really build up as far as in-game character goes. So then 2 of them will do that. You'll get some bonuses for that. And then you have to choose either explore the monastery, do a seminar, which like you and a bunch of students one of the other teachers teaches a class, and then each of them has like a level, like, you know, like authority level C and like lance level C. And if you go that, like it'll boost depending on how far you are and depending on which characters have those as goals. Like you'll
Makes
just
sense.
have a class, and then you'll build motivation. Motivation is what I want to talk about, actually. Motivation is something you need to teach students. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So then there's like, you know, you can do a seminar or you can do battles. And then they have auxiliary battles, which which aren't new to Fire Emblem. They have been auxiliary, like optional battles beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, like you can build up your stats. Obviously, like if you keep doing that, some of them have items that you need later to repair or forge weapons. Some of them just have gold, which you need to buy things. And then some of them have like meats and stuff that you need for cooking. And then the last option you have is rest, which
I like that option.
Which basically
That's
just
my
skips a
favorite.
day, and then there is a
No
certain
church
weapon that
today,
you get
kids.
called the Sword of the Creator, where it is a little bit harder to get materials to repair it. But if you choose the rest option, then it'll repair your sword.
Nice.
Through the power of the Lord.
I
Yeah.
never pick
The
rest.
Lord's sword.
I never pick rest because I feel like it's a waste of time because there's so many ways to get materials.
Never stop hustling. You
Rest
know?
is important, Shanee.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
she's on her grind 24/7.
Yeah. So, and then you pick one of those, and then the next day after that is the Monday, so you have to teach. And then each character has goals, and you can set them as whatever you be or want. And at the end of the week, no matter what like happens, those goals will like move up. And the goals are like, you know, like axe, sword, lance, heavy armor, riding, flying, faith, which is like healing, reason, which is like magic. And you can see, and then like with the right trigger on any of the characters, while you go and look at their goals, you can see the list of classes. So say like it is always a really, really good thing in mind to think about which in classes you want for each character and start working on them, because it is really hard later to change your mind and then like redo all these like teachings. So normally now for my second and third, I'll go through each character list that I know that I'm going to play and like just see which the end game is and make their goals kind of fit so they can meet requirements to get these other classes. So you teach them, and as you teach them, and you can teach them, it doesn't have to be the goals they set, but you teach them, and at the end of the week, like from Monday to Friday, at the end of the week, they will then each get a bonus to whatever their goals are. And then you'll go back to that screen where it gives you the option to explore, battle, whatever. On there's also one that's called certificates. And if you get so many levels or like do so well in proficiency in like say like Lance, then you can be a fighter and you can have them take a certificate class, become a new class. And you have to do that for each level up, except for the head of the household. And then you eventually will get your own special classes that nobody else can touch. But for the most part, yes, it's just going like before you get your special classes at the end of whenever you get their special class, like you still need to level them up. And if you've mastered whatever class you're at before you make them go to reclass them, then you get a bonus that stays with them no matter which class they pick. So a lot of their first ones are like common or noble, and if you beat that and if you max out that, then they get a +5 to HP, and that stays like
right forever.
Yeah, so there is like benefits to not just continually like jumping up until you've finished it on there, and that's how you build them up. But all of it works pretty well because whenever I start and explore, there's one mechanic I forgot to touch upon, but I can do that now. So first day of the month, I always pick explore because beginning of every month, there's always new conversations. And I just walk around the monastery and you see the speech bubbles so you know who you've talked to and who you've not. So it does like keep track of that for you. Also, if like
That's nice. I like that. That's nice.
So you go through.
That's a small thing right there.
Yeah. So you go through and like some people will have like quest and they will have like a scroll with a little exclamation point so you know that they have a quest, and some will just have speech bubbles.
Yeah.
So you go through the entire monastery. I always, like I said, the first Saturday, Sunday of like the month that you get, I always explore. You could just walk around. I walk. I have a route now that I'm used to walking, so I need to make sure I hit every single point. And like that, I also know at this point where also you'll come across like other items like fishing stuff, like seeds, things like that. They will be hidden around the monastery. So before you can, there eventually will be a shop owner that you can buy some fishing material from, like baits. But until then, that's the best.
That's a good way to just find some extra stuff.
Yeah. Until then, that's the best way to do it. And as I go through, I go to the greenhouse. I talk to certain people. I go by the places I need to hit, see whatever quests I need, and then I look at how many action points I have left. Look at my goals, which is all in a journal that you can reach out to at any point. See who needs to be connected more, where I want to go. Then I go like hit the dining hall, have a couple lunches, and it's pretty easy, honestly, to keep it all together. And then, if there's like on the calendar, like you'll see on each of the weekends, it tells you ahead of time like there's going to be a rare monster battle on this date. So if I know that, then I'm just going to do all my monastery stuff beforehand and then go to my battles the next weekend I get.
Is there a contextual reason for that? For it to tell you on this date there's going to be a rare monster battle?
Yeah, because they say it's your professor's calendar.
Yeah, but like, why would they know on that date there's going to be this rare monster battle?
Yeah, I mean, not contextually.
Not that there has to be. I'm just curious.
No, they just say like, oh, because you're a professor, like you have like this calendar that lets you know, like
Sure.
So like to plan ahead. So for the most months, honestly, it's explore, battle, like the ones that have like 4 weekends in a month.
Yeah.
Is the best way to do it.
Can you bone in this game?
No.
Finally, I've been meaning to ask that.
I didn't think you could because Nintendo. I was just curious.
So,
Can you bone?
I was curious. It's an honest question, you know. Like
in the exploring, one thing I've definitely failed to mention.
Like you bone in Awakening. You don't see it, but there's implied boning in Awakening because you make kids, you know.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's this one because they're students, so you don't actually even truly romance them.
And they're in their server, so
until a time jump happens.
Okay, but after the time jump, then you bone.
No, there's no boning. At least not that I've seen.
Okay.
There is a lot of character. Well, there's one character named Sylvan that loves to flirt, and whenever he builds up support levels with like other guys, like it does kind of like center around that. Like one of them, he is like a nobleman who's like trying to find a girl to like basically like bear him children that's of like noble birth as well, because he thinks it's like the noble's duty to like procreate. So
okay. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go into like some fucking Relento like pure race thing here.
So then he'll on his like he's like trying to chat a girl and like strikes out, and the guy who like loves to flirt is like, oh, you're such a dweeb, like striking out that girl. She'll never be interested. He's like, oh, I like to see. So he goes and tries to hit on the same girl.
Yeah.
And she immediately turns him down as well.
Okay.
So there's a couple of them where like it's basically them both to trying to chat up chicks, and both of them failing nonstop.
Sure.
And I think it's just really funny. A lot of the characters have like really intricate backstories that makes you want to do the support levels between them. Like two of them, one of them, his parents died, and the other one blames himself for the other guy's parents dying because like of his family's stuff. So he keeps like in the beginning keeps trying to avoid that guy, and the guy's like, we used to be friends as kids. What are you being so weird about now?
Yeah.
And then like eventually, if you build there, like find out like why. He's like, oh, well, you're being an idiot because I don't fucking blame you. So, like, we're friends. Deal with it. I don't know. Like, it's just, like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you wouldn't, that until you play through multiple times, you don't really always pick up on because of how the story's told.
Yeah.
But as you play it more and more, everybody's interconnections makes a lot more sense. And even if you, like, feel like you got a grasp of a character's, like, what they're like in one playthrough, you might find out, like, a completely different side to them through another one. And I think that's keeps it really fresh, makes you want to replay it. But one major thing I forgot to talk about is gifts, or lost items, I should say. So lost items are all over the monastery, starting I think the 3rd or 4th month, and every month there's new ones until a time skip happens, and you have to figure out who they are. So one will be like a wooden button. And it's like, oh, somebody who doesn't come from money. And it's like, well, there's a whole fuck ton of commoners here. Who has this wooden button?
Like a shirt button?
Yeah, I guess. It is labeled a wooden button.
Okay.
So you have to go and figure out who these belong to. There are also guides out there on who they belong to. But, and when you return them, if they are part of your team, then it builds motivation. And if they are not, then it builds, motivation and support. And if they're not part of your team, it just builds support. So if you are wanting a character to join your team, finding their lost items is great. If you have a character on your team and returning lost items doesn't take action points, so it's a pretty easy way to like also build support, but they also have to have a lost item that month or the next month because you can hold on to them. So that's another tip or trick. If you have an item that you know belongs to somebody and you have them at top, and they're on your team and they have top motivation, wait until they don't and then give it to them because they don't expire until the time jump. So you can hold off on those for the ones that you know, like who they belong to. Like some of them are really, really easy. Like one of them is this guy who is in love with Rhea. Like he's devoted to the church. He's like all about the archbishop. And there's like a painting of her somewhere. Like it's obviously his. Like I'm not going to return that until I need to.
Yeah.
But I also just hate that kid. He has the worst fucking storyline. So I just never return his items.
Okay. I mean, you can hate who you want to hate, Shanee.
Yeah, so he's so boring. If you ever play, you'll see what I mean. So like lost items are a really good thing, but I also think it's one of those things that people don't really utilize as well as they could because they just try to return them all, but you don't necessarily have to. And that's also something that is pretty easy to take care of and also keep track of because it's in your inventory that you can check at any point. And it's like as you go explore the monastery, you're going to come across them. They're not really like super hidden. They're all in like big places that you need to visit at some point.
Right.
So, and I don't know how true this is about all of them, but I have found some items from a previous month that I did not pick up in the next month. I don't know how often that sticks over. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so there's guides on there for that. And then as far as motivation, when you instruct a class, I said that you can instruct them on things that necessarily aren't their goals. The only time you can instruct them is if their motivation's up. So really for those, you want their motivation to be at 100% because that means that you have 4 tries to teach them something or like push them up. If your motivation's only at like 25%, then you only have 1 try.
I see. Okay.
So, but you can only teach people on your team. So like that's a thing. So
I mean, that seems to make sense.
Yeah. So like doing all these things pretty naturally will build up their motivation. Like all these things fall into one of another, and then they all, of course, benefit your support, and then benefit your fighting. With fighting, it's turn-based. It's pretty regular. Fire Emblem in most regards. The battalions obviously change things. Before, Fire Emblem is a big thing on swords, lances, and axes. And like there's like a triangle, like one does better than the other.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. There
is that sort of thing in this game, but it's not as prominent because of all the different things that you can do in the game and like with battalions and things like that. Like they also boost and hurt your percentages depending on which one you have. Sorry. Like depending on what you have, like they boost or make it worse as far as like you can be like +2 physical attack and -1 magic attack.
Yeah.
And things on there. But it's still there in the point as like some enemies, like flying ones, are going to be worse against bows and arrows than like anything else. Things like that. Like some of them have like marked like what they're worse at. Some in general, like if you have an axe person, don't send a lance to them. Send a sword.
Yeah. Let me ask you, as far as like the actual maps go, in previous Fire Emblems, at least the couple that I've played, for the most part, it's very, very lateral. There's not a whole lot of verticality. Is that still the case here? Like, yes, there's been flying, flying units in other games, but like that doesn't really change the way that the battle is played, other than you need to use a specific unit or weapon type to attack them, you know. But like in a game like Final Fantasy Tactics or a game like Disgaea, those are much more vertical. Is there anything like that in this one or no?
Somewhat, yes, because with this game I mentioned before, you have certain characters that can get the abilities to warp a character from like one place on the map to the other. There's also dancer characters where you can there's a dancer that you have to do a special side quest in December. Pick someone who has high charisma in December for that quest. Well, their version of December, but
Is it a Santa Claus striptease?
no, it's a dance party thing.
Okay.
And so with that, you become a dancer, and like you can do like a special dance that will make someone have a second turn.
Okay.
But like there are some maps, yes, like you can't have your characters fly over, but there are a lot. Compared to like what I remember in the past, there are more maps where if you're a flying character, it helps a lot more. Like there's some where you have to like save villagers, and to get over to there more easily, like you have to have a flying character. It's definitely not like
that's been a thing.
Yeah, so definitely not like Disgaea or I forgot what else you said. But as far as verticality, I think it's better than any other Fire Emblem game I've played, but it's still not great.
Yeah. And not that it's necessary. Like, I'm perfectly happy with just a flat battlefield, you know. But like in Kingdom Battle, right? Mario plus Rabbids, I really like the verticality in that, you know.
Oh yeah, like so
or like XCOM even, you know. But,
the environment does matter because there are a lot of maps that have stairs, and if you're on a mounted class, then you don't go as far. You can always dismount and then go up.
Yeah, horses can't go upstairs.
Everyone knows that.
Not well, apparently.
Yeah. Them fighting herds.
If there's some sand maps, so if you are any sort of like, if you're on a horse or if you are a like regular soldier, then you won't go as far. But if you're in any of the magic classes, then you aren't impeded by sand at all. There are more than I remember any environmental effects. Like if there are some, like there's like maps that have completely covered in fog that you'll need a torch to help with. There's some that have like bushes and stuff everywhere, so that will also impede people.
Cool.
There's some that are like underground, like stair by stair, so you can't use like flying people to like go over anything because it's all underground. But you can use like warpy characters to like kind of bypass that.
To Banff.
And I think it adds like a lot of different, like I've watched people do some of the same fights that I've done and play them completely different ways than I do. And I think it's always just like super interesting to see how varied the play style is with this Fire Emblem game, especially compared to other Fire Emblem games I've played.
Is it still like relatively short battles?
For the most part, yeah, there are like, especially the auxiliary ones, there are a lot of them that are really long.
It would define really long though, because like
20 turns.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But most of them, especially with New Game Plus, I can beat in like 3 turns.
Yeah. I just thought, like, there's certain strategy games where like, seems like I spend half an hour, 40 minutes on one battle. Fire Emblem's never been that for me. You know?
Some of them, yeah, I'll definitely do. Like even if it's 3 turns, it'll be 30, 40 minutes one battle.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so honestly, all of my, and then before you do go into battle, there's like the preparation mode where you can go to the market, like look at inventory, reclass people, like kind of do everything before the battle. And then also look at the map. So like, say I didn't put any torches on any of the characters because I was like, I haven't done a fucking fog map in like 20 maps.
Oh, that's such a good question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I'll go and like look at the map and I'm like, oh shit, someone needs some torches, so I just go and like gives them to.
So, you guys familiar with Wargroove?
No.
Yes.
Wargroove is like this indie company decided, hey, let's make a Advance Wars style strategy game, you know? And I really like the game, but where I think it falters is in that there are a lot of battles late in that game that like you kind of just have to jump in and then realize you don't have the right shit and lose that battle and then do it again. And I hate that. I hate like not knowing, you know.
XCOM has a lot of that.
Right. Like, is that a thing? Because
So
what
you
you're
can
talking about, like with the
retreat.
torches, you know,
you can retreat at any point in any battle
Yeah.
to the preparation mode.
Yeah.
You can't go past that, but you can still can retreat and restart it over. If you
Sure,
if
sure,
you
sure. I just don't like I feel like within better strategy games, you can prepare for most anything that's upcoming, and it's not a trial and error thing, you know?
Oh yeah.
And Wargroove very quickly became that for me anyway.
No, this one you can.
You know, like watching Ryan play Into the Breach, right? Like he picks what he wants to use, and he can handle, you know, whatever they throw at him, and what they throw at him is completely random for the most part. You know, you can get through it, whereas with a game like Wargroove, like nope, you have to die and play again. You know.
Yeah, even in like the example I said, like there's like shit, there's fog all over this map. I should bring a torch.
Yeah.
Even then, like the fog will still clear up if you have a character go in that area.
Yeah.
But it only will show like a little bit around them. So if somebody else goes towards them, like maybe there might be like a hidden bandit and like come in and attack you, and you're like, fuck, I didn't realize I was this close to something. So like the torches even then help. So like I don't think there's ever been a time where I've just been like, fuck my life. Like,
I can't do this.
I can't do this.
Right.
So it's always been like, fuck, I forgot to grab some chest keys.
Mhm.
Because they don't always supply you with with chest keys. So sometimes there's chests on there. And you're like, no, I had a fucking key. I didn't bring one.
Yeah.
So I guess that
Wargroove
treasure's
has a lot
not
of stuff
mine.
where it's like, I can't do this because I didn't know this.
Yeah.
You know. And you start over. And like, to be clear, I like that game. It's a good game. But yeah,
I mean, things will be
probably the biggest pet peeve of mine for strategy games, turn-based strategy games.
No. Even with like if you forget that that you chose a sand level and like you just go and hit fight and like you don't even prepare.
Right.
And
you can beat it.
You can. It's gonna take a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
Because like they only move like 3 squares if you have like any sort of like armored class on the sand. And it's like, and the next guy is like 40 squares away. So you're like, well, I'll make it to you.
Right.
Just stay there. I'm going to fight you. So it is possible. Like in no way, shape, or form do I ever felt like I can't beat this fight. I just think that was like, the only time I've ever done the retreat on there. There's also something that's new to the games called Divine Pulse, where if you press it, like you can rewind time. So say there's certain
Reach has that.
So with certain characters, when you fight them, if a certain character goes to defeat them, you'll maybe get the option to keep them alive and like join your team.
Mm.
Or it'll have like a really big effect on the story. Like I made one guy kill his adopted dad.
Cool.
Just for the fun of it. I'm evil.
Yeah, he killed Todd.
I legitimately only recruited him to my team so he can kill his adopted dad. So like I've had instances where I like wanted a certain ending because I want this person to take out this person, and it like they missed their shot. So like you can just do the divine pulse, go back a little bit, and then have them try again. You do only get a certain amount of them, and I think they are based off of your professor level. I may be wrong about that, but they're called divine pulses in battle, and you can turn back time, or if say like. Even in your last playthrough, like it was your last turn, like you had one character just situated a little bit weird where you got too much attention and it killed him. You can still Divine Pulse, go back, and then just have him stand a little bit different so he doesn't get targeted. And all of it just like, yes, it's a lot, but it doesn't feel like necessarily a lot. There always just feels like there's just more game to do because it all like benefits each other.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like a lot.
It sounds like a lot because you're laying it out like verbally, but I think to get your hands on it and play it, it's probably all very
that's why I kind of wanted to come across. Like, yes, it's a lot, but like as you play, it all organically feels like it's there. So
right. I mean, if you think about a strategy game, and you've got the farming and the teaching and all that crap, like that does not sound like that much, like.
So, and if you are on another thing that is something to think about with this game, they really talk about crest a lot. Like, it's one of the main...
The toothpaste?
No. it's one of the main points of
Tuesdays.
contention between a lot of the characters in the game is that with this church of Saros, there's also these nobility, and then they all have crests. And there's this guy named Nemesis who is
Whoa, rad.
Stars. Dude.
Stars.
Yeah.
who
fuck 'em.
is called the King of Liberation.
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
He died like 1,000 years ago in the past. There is a group called those who slither in the dark. That
The Kings of Liberation.
the King of Liberation.
Well, you said there was
Nemesis.
a group of them.
And then there's a group who are called those who slither in the dark,
Oh, okay.
who are worship.
That's what I call my penis.
And
Gross.
you find
Yeah.
out more about them. I'm trying to not spoil as much in the game as possible as far as like actual story goes.
Sure.
Who play a main part in the game, especially with like Nemesis and stuff, and they are very much against the church. And
Stars.
I'd imagine they would be.
Yeah.
I don't know, stars, I guess. I legitimately don't know what y'all are referencing, so it means nothing to me.
Nemesis is the guy who showed up in Resident Evil 3 to hunt down the remaining members
Never
of
played
Stars.
Resident Evil 3, so yet
That's
again.
what- yeah, that's why I was explaining it to you.
Anyways, so with that, like crests are kind of like a mark of nobility. There is 10 hero relics, which is supposed to be like the 10 guards of like the King of Liberation Nemesis, and nobility really
Really?
put an emphasis on having a crest. Like the King of the Empire, his daughter Eldegard, who is the leader of the Black Eagles that has like the 2 routes. She is, I think, the 3rd or 4th one out of 11 kids, and she's the only one born with a crest. A lot of times, if a nobleman has like children that are born without crests, and they just keep trying until they get one, because you can't be the leader of your house without a crest. So people are either
You want that crest.
And then also there's like experimentation done on some children where crests are put into the nobility of the children. A lot of them either die or go mad. And
Mad crest disease.
or like something else terrible happens to them. And it's just, unless you have a crest, like you're absolutely nothing. And it really caused a lot of contention and strife. Some people are implanted with 2 crests. You later find out that your crest is the same as the King of Liberation and Nemesis, the Crest of Flames, which I guess you could say is Fire Emblem in a different wording.
Yeah, flame crest.
Yeah.
The
emblem
Crest of Flames.
Yeah. Flame crest awakening.
And to use these hero relics, you do need these crests, so it is like important to know who has what crest in some capacity, or at least have a background, or pull up a handy guide like I have, and you'll get.
Cheat.
No, it says it in there, but like it's all like written as like their description in like a long story, and I'm like, I just want to know who has what.
Okay.
And
Okay. A shortcut, as you will.
Yeah. So like, there's that part too to care about. I think that if you do start trying to read more about the crests in each family lineage, which is in the library, you can read more instead of just skipping over it like I did the first couple times.
Yeah, you got to read Shanee.
Yeah. It really benefits the story as far as like why things are happening, getting a better understanding. But if you really care about crests, well, I guess if you really care about the history of the church, like
I do.
the Golden Deer is probably one of the more interesting ones. If you care more about crests and how they have affected nobility, the Black Eagles is a really good one. And if you just want to be a good blonde boy, I guess pick Blue Lions.
Okay. Well, I mean, you picked them all, so.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to know.
Well, and also next month is the DLC, which they're going to introduce a 4th house, so I'm going to play that one too.
Yeah.
Well, they can't.
I think it's going to be the red.
No, they
The blue barracudas.
Yeah.
it's basically going to be like a shadow 4th house that lives underneath the church that nobody knows about.
People underneath the stairs.
yeah. So, yeah, with Fire Emblem, I've just really enjoyed it. Like,
That's awesome, dude.
there's a lot to do, but I think it's really fun seeing how like all it connects. I've played through it multiple times, each one with a different goal in mind as
and
I
you're
play
still
them.
going.
Oh yeah, no, to the point where I got frustrated with Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, please, Fire Emblem, just comfort me.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. I do want to play it. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but yeah, it definitely interests me.
So yeah, play Fire Emblem. Keep some of the things I said in mind.
Cool. I got a small thing for this week.
All right, what is it?
Ryan, you've been playing Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
So
That's a good Peter Parker, by the way.
probably I don't know if I want to say my
Is he
favorite.
Parker?
One of my favorite collectibles in video games is those backpacks
Mm-hmm.
because they just kind of flesh out the world,
Yeah.
you know? And like well, I guess you find them in whatever order you find them. I found one early in the game that had like this dumpling recipe. And like, how far are you in the game?
Not very.
Okay, well later in the game, like it comes up again, like in a story cutscene, it comes up again, and like it's just each backpack has like a little thing,
what I like about them
knick-knack
of the backpacks that I found so far,
yeah,
they all just have like aside from the fact that they're put up there by a superhero with web slinging powers,
yeah.
they're all filled with like just regular teenager stuff.
Yeah, but like it's just stuff
like
that really fleshes out the world and the Marvel universe and all that.
Yeah.
And like, I've never been a huge Marvel guy, but it is really cool stuff.
I like one of the ones I found just had like the menu from like him and Mary Jane's first date or something like that.
It's so much cooler than collecting an orb, you know? Like it's a small little thing.
Wasn't
but,
it in Arkham Asylum that you would collect like patient files
Yeah.
or like get to hear them? I thought those were cool too.
Yeah. So that's my small thing for this week.
Right on. Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot something to mention something about Fire Emblem.
Go ahead, Shanee.
We got you. What is it?
So I forgot to talk about the blacksmith. I mentioned it briefly. So later in the game, you'll also get an ability to either forge or repair weapons that you have.
So you're the blacksmith.
No, like I take it to the blacksmith.
Okay.
So with the forge materials, so with the DLC, you can also, I think it's with the DLC. It might just be an update, but with the DLC, you can there's cats and dogs like all around the monastery.
Mm-hmm.
You can feed the cats and dogs like fish and like things that you've grown or like meat that you've
Fish heads.
gotten. Oh no, it'll be the entire fish, and then they will cough up like forage materials that you need. So if you don't really feel like doing a lot of battles, you can still go around just feeding cats and dogs.
No, those pets are not healthy.
Yeah, if you feed a dog something and it coughs it up, you might not want to feed it to him anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it just says like, hey, looks like something's in their mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a mithril.
Now I know this game is fake because there's no way you're gonna get a dog to show you what's in its mouth. In years.
Depends on the dog.
Cinnamon always gulps it before I can get to it.
Luna's pretty good about it. But
Like a cyanide capsule or something.
so and another way, if you like exploring more than you like the battles, or want to not just like boost your level a whole lot, but want to get material to repair your weapons instead of like resting or doing other things, you can just feed cats and dogs.
I'm just sorry. Like, I just think I got this image in my head of like, what if you took like a little chunk of cheese and put like a Halloween like blood capsule in there and gave it to Cinnamon, so she's got like blood coming out of her mouth. Oh man, you'd be so spooked.
Man, I hope Kaylee doesn't listen to this episode because that actually sounds like a real good prank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. You don't know if your pet's gonna have a reaction to fake blood. Don't do that.
No, they make some for dogs too.
Isn't it all just like cornstarch?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just feel like if you eat your own poop, you can probably eat it.
That's true.
If you other things poop too.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, I got more, but that's all I'm gonna say about Fire Emblem today.
You can keep going.
Yeah, man, this is our show.
Feel free.
We don't have any limits.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh yeah, don't spoil anything.
Shanee, at some point, because I do plan on playing this game, at some point, because a lot of the talk that I'd heard about Fire Emblem was less about mechanics and the way that the game worked, and more about thematically what's going on in this game.
I want to talk about it so much, but I don't want to spoil anything.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and I really want to. It sounds really interesting, so I'm looking forward to playing it and seeing what they're talking about. But it all sounds like, even speaking at like a high level about how that story goes, I'm I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
so
it.
like because of like crest stuff, like some characters, if you don't pair them up like at the ending, and like you do that by building up support levels, and there's certain ways you can get characters to have paired endings. If you don't end them with certain characters, like they'll just have a terrible end story and die.
Cool.
But if you pair them with certain characters, they will figure out how to save them.
You know, I like it. I like it when sometimes a story has a tragic ending.
Oh yeah, there's some that like you're like, oh well, you're so cute like right now as like teenagers, and then like they grow up and like get married, and then they just like grow to resent each other, and one of them will die.
Like last week,
Sure.
I watched a Tyler Perry movie that had a tragic ending.
Okay.
So
Isn't that all of them?
I don't know. That's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I'm gonna do now for high level. You can find us on most podcast stuff, YouTube. Bye, guys.
Later.
Bye.